Welcome back on board, Curious Sailors. It's Martina from Argentina, bringing you the crew experience on the ultimate world cruise. On today's vlog, we're gonna spend New Year's Eve in Copacabana like you've never seen before. A true bucket list moment to kickstart a voyage like no other. Just a little note, I know that this vlog is super late and I thank you so much for still watching it, because I hope to share at least the crew experience that you might not have seen yet. I just had a really slow learning curve with all my new equipment that I got and how I was filming the material and how to put it all together without really having a chance to vlog. I promise the upcoming vlogs are gonna come out much faster and I've been vlogging like properly. Anyways, let's jump straight into a little recap. On my first vlog, we sailed out of Miami, first to our private island, Coco Cay, to Mexico, Aruba, Bonaire, Curaçao, Grenada, Barbados, the basic Caribbean ports. A couple of reasons why I'm mentioning this again, because a lot of people asked me for recommendations at these ports, but I've never had a chance to go out much in these places. A little bit of older footage from these ports that I've never posted, that I can put up on screen. But the main recommendations are, for example, in Mexico, going to see some really great Mayan ruins in the mainland or driving around the island. ABC Islands have beautiful waters to go snorkeling. There's rock formations, wild flamingos, wild donkeys, salt flats, a little bit of everything really. One thing I can share with you to learn from my mistake is that in Curaçao they will charge you not only for a beach bed but also for the beach access. And okay, that's not so crazy, but once we paid for the beach access and we just decided to lay on the sand so we wouldn't spend any extra money, we just lay our towels and we went swimming. All good so far. When we came back, we just wanted to lay under the sand to dry up and go back to the ship, when a controller told us that we were obligated to purchase a sunbed as well. Even if we already had the beach access, we could not lay on the sand. So we just stood up, I kid you not, we stood up to stay in the gray area until we dried off and then we left. So don't lay down on the sand, but you can swim. How crazy is that? Anyways, the food in all of these ports is amazing and they really do cater to foreign tourists, especially from the Netherlands, of course. From that segment, my favorite port I think was Grenada. I felt that it had a lot of interesting cultural things to do. And yes, normally cultural things are the ones that really get to my heart. Although snorkeling is by far one of my favorite activities when working on cruise ships. You'll see me going in every snorkeling tour under the sun. But yeah, I do have a soft spot for cultural heritage. And maybe I'm biased because it was the first port that I could really go out and have a touristy day out during the world cruise, so there you go. I made this cute map, but it's really low quality because you have to pay for a subscription to make it better and put the ship animation instead of the airplane. And that's a good cue for a cheeky reminder that I do have little ways in which you can help this channel. I started by request of some followers a buy me a coffee and a coin drop account, or you can symbolically buy me a coffee, which translates to making a small donation that I can put towards buying internet on board the ship to post this content, researching to the ports that I'm going to make these plans, as well as buying fun snacks and magnets and souvenirs that I can show you of the places that I'm going to. And if there's any camera geeks out there, I renewed all my kit for the Ultimate World Cruise. I changed all my cameras and accessories, especially for vlogging, that I hope you're really gonna see on the upcoming vlogs. If you're interested, I could make a video about that, but yeah, that's also where little donations can go towards to keep the quality of this channel. And while overall helping this project, since in a contract like the Ultimate World Cruise, I know that all my salary is basically going into these amazing excursions, especially since we only have one day. I would tend to go for taxis in places where I would normally take public transportation, which is obviously cheaper, just because we need to do the fast version. So sometimes a private tour, it's better for us that have limited time, although they're more expensive. So anyways, just putting it out there. Some people requested how they could help and I've already received some donations, so thank you so much, Ken, for being my first donation. I told you I was gonna mention you, so shout out to you, Ken. Gracias. We have to make it to Copacabana on time for New Year's Eve 2025. Anyways, there was a couple of stops before we reached Rio de Janeiro, and one was the most mysterious and the most anticipated for me, which was in French Guyana, the infamous Devil's Island. One thing that I love about the Ultimate World Cruise is that we're getting movies related to the places where we're going to, and I'm really prepared for this port and all the mystique surrounding it. And I watched the movie Papillon. I might have pronounced that wrong, and there's two versions of that movie. The captain himself recommended that I watched the original version of it. It's a really deep movie, highly recommended, and it tells the grueling stories of the prisoners sent from France, most of the times never to return from Devil's Island. Unfortunately, we could not make this port because there was really bad weather and we had to deploy our tenders, and this would be completely dangerous. Imagine jumping on a moving boat from a platform next to a ship. Could not be done, and it was the first big vlog on the Ultimate World Cruise for me. Especially because these are places that you don't normally book a vacation to. But I'm very glad that I got to see that movie, which was filmed at location. And I'm gonna cover more about those movies on my vlog about what I do on board, because I'm part of that team in charge of that. Let me know in the comments below if that interests you. So unfortunately we had to keep going on our way to Brazil, which included several ports in this country, which of course it's huge. We still had a ton of fun at sea, with the crew participating in really unique activities and the traditional equator crossing ceremony, all of which are upcoming to the channel. And we were very busy the first couple of months bringing this magic to life on stage with these great artists. Our first Brazilian port was Fortaleza. I decided not to go ashore that day. I was very busy and tired, and I kind of regret it. This is an emblematic place where Argentinians go spend the summer. It's a beach destination, but the port area was not as touristy, but you can still find amazing restaurants to go to. Our second port in Brazil was Recife, also a beach destination, but better known for its architectural heritage. As I just said, architecture is more interesting to me because working on cruise ship, the one thing that we do a lot is going to the beach. So I just took a stroll downtown, and immediately I could see the Portuguese heritage under my feet on the sidewalk. This really small detailed tile art style is something that you would see in any street in Portugal. The buildings were really beautiful, but I do have to admit that they were a little bit run down. There's a lot of pictures online of very colorful buildings, and they are, but they're not in such great shape as some of the images make it look like. We still had a fantastic local lunch, and there's a few museums that you can see in this place, and I would highlight the Carnaval Museum, something that is really important to the Brazilian culture and looks like Recife especially so. I headed back to the ship with some pão de queijo, Portuguese pastel de nata. So honestly, a great outing for me, even if it was a really short time. Because as I was saying, I was really overwhelmed by my new assignment, getting to know the new equipment, and at this point we were opening our first couple of new production shows. Again, comment below what you would like to know about my new position, because I'm creating a vlog all about it. Now, the time has come. We're finally approaching Rio. This is a special port for me because I had been as a child when I was 6 years old before with my family, before my parents split up, and Brazil in general was my late father's favorite place on earth. I really had a lot of warm memories of this place, and I was hesitant to, let's say, replace them or see those places again as an adult after so many things happening in our lives. And that's exactly the reason why I decided not to visit Christ the Redeemer, because I had gone there with my family, and as a 6-year-old that place looked magical to me. I remember clouds enveloping the statue, and it just looked so massive and fantastical that I did not want to visit it again with adult eyes. And I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion, but for me, out of all the wonders of the world, this is one that is a little bit overrated. But I do think if you're there, you should obviously cross it off your list, no doubt. Also, you should definitely get on a little cable car to the Sugarloaf Mountain. I was very happy that on my drive that day I got to see both of these places on the overall landscape of the city, and it was still wonderful to me. Instead, what I decided to do was get some Brazilian barbecue. One of the things that I miss the most on board is meat. So I looked up a really fancy restaurant to really give me a treat for the New Year's, and I decided on Assador. The problem was that it was fully booked precisely by our Ultimate World cruisers, who were all on an all-day adventure to Christ the Redeemer, and a lunch in Assador. That was very ironic, but they recommended us their secondary location, which was by a very modern marina, and they actually served Argentinian cuts. Meat lovers already know what I'm talking about, but if you don't know, from the same animal, different countries tend to cut it in different ways with different results at the time of cooking and eating it. So I really did enjoy that, and it was still really fancy, and I still made sure to have some Brazilian sides like farofa. It was a quiet day for me, but honestly, it was what I needed to get a little bit away from the hustle and bustle of opening 5 new shows, and yeah, it just had a lot of reflections on my life. The general comments that I got from our passengers and the crew, and that I also thought myself, was that Rio de Janeiro was more rundown than we remembered or imagined. The city was not as well kept as we might have expected, and the amount of people on the streets was also noticeable. But of course, the Copacabana New Year's fireworks are something not to miss, and we saw them in a spectacular and unique way. One thing I wish I knew was that just by the harbor of Rio de Janeiro, there's a fantastic activity park where you can basically walk, skate, ride a bicycle, so that would be definitely a smart thing to do to spend your day in Rio. So yes, you've heard about just being in Ipanema, in Copacabana, at the beach, and seeing all the fireworks from the beach and Main Street that get closed. But did you know that cruise ships actually have a special spot at the Guanabara Bay from which they can see the fireworks with the backdrop of Rio de Janeiro, which is quite spectacular if you ask me. And of course, the Ultimate World Cruise was one of those ships that got a special place in this great display. We were 4 or 5 ships all docked in a U formation at the bay, and the city really lit up in front of us. The tradition in Rio de Janeiro is to wear white for New Year's Eve. For me, unfortunately, I did not have a formal white dress, so we had to make do with the same dress that I've been wearing for the last at least 3 years. I hope to go shopping soon. Yes. We had a fantastic crew dinner, including tons of desserts and special roasted meats and all that. It was really, really great. And we were of course allowed to watch the fireworks from the open decks as long as we were properly dressed in uniform with our name tags, and of course the guests come first. I was able to place a couple of different cameras, but I did not have the proper long lens to capture them in detail, but I did enjoy of course the moment with my friends. bad. First of all, because the World Cruise is not as full as your typical Caribbean sailing, also because of the class of ship that we're sailing on, which boasts tons of open deck area, tons of windows on the indoor areas as well. A ship really designed to enjoy the places that we're going to from on board. The fireworks were so long across the beach that you could see them from various angles of the ship. So that combination just made it for a wonderful experience where every group of family and friends were really enjoying without worrying for a maddening crowd around you. For me, it was a very special moment that just gave me a moment to reflect on 2023, putting a lot of things behind and really focusing on the great adventures for 2024. On my mind and in my heart, I could really feel it. This adventure has just started.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, and I bought this thing. I already recorded a vlog unboxing it, but you'll get a sneak peek on this vlog as well. We're gonna start scratching off the countries that we're visiting vlog by vlog. Apparently, Bonaire is a municipality and not a country. So on the next vlog, we're gonna cover our arrival to Uruguay and Buenos Aires. I shared all my secrets about my city, and now I want to tell you what I did as a crew member visiting my own city. It was a surreal experience, so stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget that I'm very active on Instagram and TikTok, where you can keep track of where I am and what I'm doing before you hear all the details here on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss that. And of course, leave a like so I know that you're there and watching. Comment all your questions that you have for upcoming vlogs. And I'm also leaving the link where you can buy me a coffee, which I would be so grateful. See you next time. Bye bye.